I love your character. The intensity that you portray is fantastic. And now with the advent of the change where your son actually turns himself in, what do we have in store for that whole dynamic?
Well, I think for John Smith, it's a matter really of the chickens coming home to roost in a way that perhaps he always feared. He isn't someone who has been unaware of the compromises he's made. I think he carries that inside him. And I think there's an opportunity in season 3 and in season 4, which we're filming now, for some of that stuff to start coming back and biting him. The complication is that if he wants to protect what's left of his family, he needs to cling even further to the Nazi ideology, because that's, the people that are trying to claim his children, his only hope of protecting them is to get higher and higher up on that ladder.
I was almost impressed with, he was just about to, what seemed to me was become Führer himself. I wasn't sure if he was going to get to that extent, but you're almost at that level.
I personally don't want him to. I think that would be lousy for the story, because as soon as he has complete power, it's all about the jeopardy, about the, for him, I don't think that's what he wants. I don't think he's not actually personally ambitious for the sake of ambition. He's someone who just is pragmatic to the point of it being a problem and wants to protect his family. In order to do that, he's made himself blind to the consequences of what he's doing,
That's very interesting. All right, well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure speaking with you. I just want to start off as a fanboy for a second and just say your character that you portrayed in Hemlock Grove was awesome.
Thank you so much.
And you carried over that intensity here as well. If you could trade roles with another one of your castmates in this show, who would it be?
That's a great question, because everyone does such a great job. I answered this question earlier today, and I said one person, and I think I'm going to say someone else this time. Because it changes. No matter how I think about it, I would love to play Tagomi, because in a lot of ways Tagomi is the other side of a coin. Like we sort of pull each other. And together maybe we comprise a whole. But so it'd be fun to sort of carry. I think is sort of the beating heart of our show. So
interesting choice. Okay, great. For this show itself, how do you prepare for this role? There is, he's very disciplined within himself. So how do you prepare for this type of character?
It's a great challenge, and it's a role that I love to play. And it's always something I feel like I'm always stretching towards to try to get. Like every year is another shot to maybe get it a little bit better. Right. He carries himself in a way that's much different than the way I do in my everyday life, so it requires a little period of like everyday discipline, so it's a little bit of language training, a little bit of cultural training, and really stillness, trying to sort of embrace stillness.
Thank you very much for your time. Yep, I love the show. You do a great job.
Thanks a lot.
What will fans be most surprised about with this season?
Oh, Juliana's wings. I'm making a joke. That would be a surprise.
I was like, don't tell them. Don't tell them about her wings.
That's intense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of twists and turns that will be, I think, actually very shocking. And I'm a little bit nervous, actually, for everyone to see them. So I won't get into it. But yeah.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
There are a few things that shocked us in reading the scripts that will definitely come as a surprise to the audience.
That's going to be exciting. I'm definitely looking forward to see that. I just asked Joel if he had a choice to trade with other actors on the show to trade roles. What would he choose? I'm interested in hearing what you would choose.
Abinson.
You would.
Oh, yeah.
No one so far has said Man in the High Castle. Right. That's it. That's right. Okay. So that's because in my head I'm like, that is the most intense and juiciest role. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would pick the same?
No, mostly because I go after Alexa in line on these questions, and
No,
it seems.
you don't.
I know. I actually picked Kido earlier today. I think
that's interesting.
because I love the restraint, and being able to play something with that level of restraint, I think would be really more restraint than Helen would be enjoyable.
Oh, interesting. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time. The Man in the High Castle. I'd have to. Yeah. Plus, I'm a film buff, and so to be around all that celluloid, that would be. And it was crushing to see him ignite the whole place and burn all that film and just take what he really thought he needed. That was intense.
Yeah.
I love the show. I think you all do an amazing job, and I want to thank you for taking a few minutes with us.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you.
That's nice of you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Were you aware that Man in the High Castle was on Rolling Stone's list of 40 greatest sci-fi TV shows of all time?
No, I was not.
I wasn't either until recently. I don't know when, but
makes me very
I read
happy.
it, and it
Thank you
makes
for
me happy
sharing.
too. So it's a lot to be proud of. Is there, now that you know this, what's the pressure on you guys to keep coming up with an intense
Gee.
and riveting show?
Now that you put it that way, that is a lot of pressure.
No pressure.
There was already extraordinary pressure given the source material we had, and to try and live up to something that, as you always said, was the crown jewel within sort of the masterworks of Mr. Dick. That's been the pressure and the inspiration from the beginning. So to think that we've honored the material by attaining a status like that or a stature like that is thrilling, but the pressure is always from the source material.
And that was another question I had. Now, I'm ignorant of Man in the High Castle, his literary works. So was there any pressure from you guys to stay true to, the book itself, or were you guys always ready to branch out?
I'll answer that since I'm Philip K. Dick's daughter, so I can answer some of it. So there was never any pressure to, adapt it in a literal fashion. It was really always about making sure we had the spirit of the story. I think in the first season we did depict quite a bit of story from the novel itself, a little bit in the second, not much in the third except for continuation of characters. However, we added 2 chapters, there's a big idea in 2 chapters of a sequel that was never finished.
Oh, really?
That he never, in his lifetime, never finished.
That's
So that's
interesting.
exciting. So there's
Yeah,
a big
that is
idea.
very
So we're excited about that. But, just generally, we just have to stay close to the spirit of it. It's an anti-fascist novel. It's an important novel. It's an important show right now, and hopefully we're doing that.
With the political climate and everything that's going on right now, I think you're hitting it right on the head. I mean, it's just a fine line, how a democracy or a democratic republic can turn on a dime. But I think you guys have really possessed the spirit of Philip K. Dick, and it's definitely an amazing dystopia that you've displayed for everyone. But as a fan, I really am I'm into it, and I thank you so much for spending time with us today.